Okay, we know it's already Paris Fashion Week, and we will get to that. But meanwhile, here's a little reminder, should you need one, that there was once fashion with a capital F, or should that be a capital G? Because when it comes to glamour, the Italians really do it better, and no one does it as well as Donatella. So here's a little rewind before we fast forward to Paris. You can forget all the things we all need to concentrate on and let our attention wander off to impossible land of impossibly leggy models and impossibly hunky men and impossible grooming of hair and makeup. Final word, this video must be seen with the volume turned right up to 11. The soundtrack is by the inimitable Freddie Sanchez. Let the kitchen disco commence. Nina Ricci. Ruchme Butter and Lise Herabrug are bringing this very, very French house forward, best known for their lingerie and lace, very feminine styles, but now redefined with clean, minimalist lines and an air of sportiness. I loved the dangling bottles of L'Air du Temps, its bottle famously designed by Lalique and one of the first ever perfumes I owned as a teenager. A nod to where the brand and its decades of success, and perhaps a symbol of their hope of bringing back the daring innovation it represented back in the 1950s when it first came out.
First drive-through fashion show, the duos Wang, along with Germanier, talked me through the collection a few days before, saying that they wanted to bring back to the forefront the desire that comes with the busy nightlife, especially through the format of a complicated to plan drive-through in Versace Stadium, usually home to a Beyoncé concert for 20,000 plus, rather than just 32 cars with editors and VIPs. If proof were needed that the upstarts that can think on their feet and be flexible and nimble, this is it.
I think drone shoots really lend itself to a Rick Owens world, set on a long concrete pier and making a foreboding and dramatic background. The setting made me think of the French lieutenant's woman, with a dark romantic vision for clothes that were about protection against the elements, very timely to help us ride out the current storm. It was wonderful to get a rare glimpse of Rick Owens himself, who's normally quite camera shy, adjusting the model's clothes before walking. There's no one really better than Owens to embody his brand.
Over the past like 3 or 4 collections, tailoring has been a kind of big mission for me. This season we kind of looked at this idea of like making it as a cotton structure so that it was more elongated, looking at kind of like 20s horse riding jackets or even earlier than that. For this collection, I kind of was looking at this idea of blown up abstraction of men's shoes. Like
Loewe.
Contradicted the look. But
Jonathan Anderson of Loewe has, for the past 3 seasons, really leapt at the opportunity that the pandemic has opened up to express his inspiration and collection through physical objects, whether his first show in a box that included a DIY vinyl record player, shadow art of his team, as well as the wallpaper kit from his Spring-Summer 21 collection for his own brand. Now comes a Loewe 56-page newspaper in a tin box and letter opener, a physical footprint that largely and beautifully showcases the amazing Spanish brand's technical credentials in working with leather, which is at the heart of Loewe.
I always think a bag and a shoe can kind of like twist a look. It can kind of change it. For this collection, we have brought back the Amazona, which is an historical bag to Loewe, which was made very famous in the 70s. Our technical set becoming even more advanced, I was like, how do we make this bag even better?
I first met Uma in Shanghai over a decade ago and find it really heartening to see how she's stuck to her singular, if dark, vision. She's been working with incredible Italian fabrics and knits. For those of you who might remember Romeo Gigli, this is very much in that universe, except a much more somber mood, but rich. Uma is the OG of a generation of Chinese designers who have broken through internationally, and her long-term strategy of flip-flopping between Milan and Paris has meant a growing international audience for her work.
Vintage denim jacket. It's like a very short but very voluminous jacket, and it works really well with something that's tight in the waist, and it makes a really beautiful silhouette. There's also a bomber, as we always do, and this time the bomber we just took away all the knit pieces, so there's no knit here and there's no knit here, but we cut it in the middle and there's a string and you can pull it together, and we called it the kimono bomber. It was so strange how it's kind of difficult to think about complicated things, or even more complex things when times are already so complex. It was just about beautiful, simple clothes. And there's one last look.
Lutz Huelle is a designer who also likes to
which
tear
I
up
didn't
the
get
look, like
done
beautiful
in the
people,
end,
or
because
Sakai, and rethink how clothes as objects can be reconsidered and re-engineered as a way of transforming their meaning or what they symbolize. It's so honest and charming. This very simple way he explains how this new collection works back with all of his previous collections, emphasizing a buildable wardrobe rather than a throwaway one.
So this is the
We've saved you half of his video as a DIY tutorial on how to create one of his designs at home, so stick around and have your notebook ready.
Take the white t-shirt. So this is it. This is your first look of the winter collection. Thank you so much for looking.
Kumakiri Hidenori, aka Kuma, was inspired by the double-ended Sharpie marker, a technical magician when it comes to pattern cutting and meticulously reinventing how you wear clothes. During my preview over Zoom with Kuma, he told me how this collection was a study in contrasting ideas, with clothes that transform by turning them literally on their head. Starring one of my favorite models, Ai Tominaga, this film reflects a mirror world and translates the complexity into simplicity, one of Beautiful People's key trademarks.
We start this video with the high-octane Italian glamour, and what better to end this video roundup than with a young designer who's doing French glamour in Paris. If arguably not as accomplished and glossy as Versace, he has an eye to sustainability and recycling. Kevin Germanier uses dead stock in textiles and found crystals and embellishments as his source material, and even his granny in Switzerland hand knits with the circle of his friends his knitwear. What a proud granny she must be. Thank you for staying with us here at Because Magazine for this roundup, and see you at our next highlights video with all the best of Paris Fashion Week.